test. Alright, so we're gonna be starting here now. Sorry for the wait. Okay, let me check on the main stream. Okay, so due to some technical issues, we won't be having Sniper here with us today. So I'm gonna have to go through all these details on my own, which is obviously perfectly fine. So I'll just make it so that it'll be very straightforward and easy to understand about the changes that we're gonna be making. Alright. So we're gonna look at the trial season and the season 1, and some of the things that we kind of ran into a little bit that we're gonna be changing for season 2. So the first thing is scheduling matches. So I know that on paper it'll you can ignore that notification there, but on paper it'll look good with scheduling matches, just because that it's a little more. It's a little easier to manage the time in case where you may be restricted by time or maybe can't make a date. But in this case, it was a little more difficult because we had a lot of players that kind of struggled to schedule their own matches. So for season 2, we're going to be making it so that there will be set dates, but more flexible than you think it will be. So in the case where a few players, can't make a certain time, at a decent level, before the set event is supposed to be played, then of course we'll be able to change the date or time or whatever we need to accommodate to that. So there were also good number of forfeits. Unfortunately, we tried to keep everyone, in the state of play, where they were getting their matches done and all of that. But that was also another issue that we had, which kind of falls into the scheduling of the matches, because a lot of the forfeits happened because they either didn't have time or ran into some issues when scheduling their matches. Same thing with the obligation to play. A lot of players also didn't, or I shouldn't say a lot, but a few of the players also struggled keeping up with their matches, or essentially playing them out. So that's also going to be something that we're going to address in season 2. And finally, the format was a little longer than we had anticipated, and that will also be addressed in season 2. So we have the old versus new implementations here for season 2. So the first thing is from tournament to challenge. So a lot of people are more familiar with challenge, but the difficulty with challenge for season 1, the trial season, was that we used divisions, which made it really difficult to manage every single challenge, because challenge also isn't flexible with multi-stage tournaments, which is what we had essentially for almost every division. But season 2, we're fixing that, so we're going to be able to bring challenge back and to be able to use that in season 2. Also, we used to be using Discord DMs to contact players, and to schedule their matches. But this time we will be planning to use our server channels a lot more often, most likely shutting down any usage of the current Discord user that we have. And as far as registration goes for season 2, we did have a Google form registration that we were going to use for each season, but for season 2, since it was so much info and honestly just a big hassle and just very unnecessary, we're going to be shortening it or bringing it down to one-time registration, where we would just need info, such as your battle tag and game name, or at least the info that wouldn't be changing. Also, country of origin, we would need that for Wikipedia, and anything along those lines. That's all we would need. It would be one time, and I believe we will be beginning to verify age just as the league grows. We don't want any of this ineligible players, ending up playing in a season and, I don't know, winning a prize or something. We definitely don't want to end up going in that direction. As addressed before, the 2+ month long seasons was extremely long, and we're going to be shortening that down to 1 month seasons. First, so that they'll fit, in within the month, and it'll be easier to kind of schedule and have dates ready and anticipate them, and also just so that players like you don't get bored waiting for other matches to get done, or just having to wait so long for a season to finish up. And the last thing is for specifically for the open divisions, there will be no more divisions, and we'll look into that in the next slide. I believe the next slide is for the open divisions. There we go. So for DSL Open, we're going to be completely throwing away the old concept that we had with divisions, and we're actually going to separate the Master 3 Diamond 1 division into their own event, and Diamond 2 players and below will be playing in DSL Open. So it's 6 weeks long, and essentially what we're going to be using is a bid format where you have a bunch of different smaller tournaments that will qualify you for a main event. So here you can see we have 4 weeks of single-day weekly events. There'll be essentially 4 events, and from each of these weeklies, the top 3 will qualify for the main event, and will also seed you for the main event. And these will be double elimination. The dates will most likely be a weekend date, either a Saturday or Sunday, sometime during the midday, so that EU players, NA players will all be able to have a fair time to be able to come out and play and compete. Right, so if you qualify for the main event, you're essentially done. You don't have to play in any of the rest of the qualifiers. Actually, you will be ineligible to play in the other qualifiers, just to give the other players a chance to qualify for the main event. We don't want overlays happening where players qualify again and again and end up taking slots, and it just gives us a big headache as far as sorting that out. So 4 weeklies, top 3 qualify. That means 12 players go through into the main event after that 4 weeks. So the top, basically seed ones, the winners from the 4 events, will get a bye into the playoffs, and seeds 2 and 3 will play in a group stage, 2 groups of 4 players, most likely round robin or something. Since it is 4 players, we do have the option and variety of that. But the top 2 from each group will qualify for the playoffs, and they'll be playing the first seeded players in the round of 8 bracket, and then that'll be the season. So you can see here below we have that timeline with the first 4 weeks being for the weekly events, week 5 being the group stage, and week 6 being the playoffs, and essentially that'll be the season for DSL Open. So this kind of helps because you won't be required to play matches every single time at a certain date, with the exception of the main event. If you want to just come out and play casually, you have the option of doing that in the weekly events. So you won't be, again, required to constantly play, and we won't have to nag you for that. You would just have the option to qualify in these weekly events, and after that you'll have the chance to qualify or to win the main event, essentially. So we have DSL Elite, which is going to be the Master 3 to Diamond 1 division. It'll be a 16-player tournament, and there will be a qualifying date for Season 2. It'll be sometime in December, and there will be 2 dates. And I believe top 4 qualify from each day, and it'll be double elimination qualifiers where everyone just plays in double elimination bracket, and top 4 will qualify for, or from each date will qualify for the main event. So the round of 8 players, which is 8 players total, are going to be invited to the next season. And this will just allow us to have the 4-player, 4-group stage, GSL style, and then obviously top 2 qualify into a round of 8 single elimination playoffs. And you can see below, the season is a 4-week season, essentially a month, and it aligns with DSL Pro, which will be quickly going into next. But you can see the group stage will take 2 weeks. We have the playoffs the 3rd week, and we have an off season that 4th week. Most likely qualifiers. I think that's supposed to be the qualifying week, the week before the next season. So that will most likely be the qualifiers for next week. And finally, we're going to go into DSL Pro. This is going to be the very same thing. We have the 2 group stages and the very similar GSL format that we've been using for Season 1. It's going to be the same thing, except it will be a lot shorter than what it currently is, because right now it's been about 2 months, 2 months plus, and we've been able to shorten it down to 3 weeks, which is a pretty big achievement there, I think. You can see the timeline there. We have Group Stage 1 during Week 1, and Group Stage 2 during Week 2, and the playoffs in Week 3, and that's essentially the season. The qualifiers will take place during Week 4, while the DHS event is going on, most likely sometime after, or something like that. But yeah, the DSL Pro season is going to be much shorter. Most likely, not all matches will be casted like we had wanted to for Season 1, but the seasons will be a lot quicker. It'll keep things moving and interesting. But yeah, essentially for DSL Pro, the same format will still be the same for Season 2. And I forgot to mention the qualifiers as well. The qualifiers will be the same thing. So basically, for the qualifiers, the round is 16 players and above will not have to go through the qualifiers. If they want to play in the next season, they'll be automatically put in. So, and then the top 4 will obviously be put into Group Stage 2. So we have 12 players in Group Stage 1, 4 players in Group Stage 2, and that'll leave another 4 slots open. So it'll be the same thing. We have double elimination bracket, 2 dates, and top 4 advance or qualify for the main event. And after that, we did have Division O in Season 1, but this season we're not going to be having that because of the seasons that are going to be going by so quickly. There's not really a need for one. So we will be removing that, but the qualifiers, again, will be more often. The prize pools will most likely be staying the same. As we also did get our own partnership with Matcherino, which is really going to help us out. But overall, that's all I have as far as the slides go. This will most likely stay the same, maybe with a couple minor changes, but I honestly doubt it. This will be the format for Season 2, and most likely seasons later on, as we've addressed majority of the problems that we've had, or I wouldn't say problems, maybe some minor issues that we've had with the trial season and Season 1. So that's it, everyone. I hope to see you in the qualifiers if you're playing in DSL Pro and DSL Elite in December. That date will be made in the Discord announcements soon. With the challenge brackets, you'll have to kind of register yourself on the challenge. And then if you're playing a DSL Open, it'll just be the first weekly event in January. So, thank you all again. This is Benefit, by the way. So, I hope to see you for Season 2. And thank you.